when we worked with Underarmor and Nike and everything, I still worked there because I was too afraid to quit my job there because I thought maybe it's just a small hype and then we have no clients anymore. And what I'm doing then, I have no job and nothing. So I worked in a call center while actually working on Nike campaigns. And they maybe thought I am some guy with a master degree or whatever.
Yeah.
But in reality, I was 2 hours before I was in a fucking call center,
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Jesse Nyberg Podcast. Today we're here with Obby and Jappari. Super excited to talk to them. Long time coming. I think that your guys are by far the most requested guests, I think by a big margin actually. So excited to finally chat with you. How are you?
Thank you. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
How are you? Think I'm doing pretty good. Just, we had a little bit of technical difficulties, just trying to get everything sorted. What kind of stuff have you guys been kind of working on this week? I know you said you're pretty busy.
Yeah, we have a bunch of projects right now. We are trying to make commercial stuff and also our personal work, like free work and some to be every time to stay tuned, to see what's right now is for us good. And we try to make 1 or 2 days a week for just free work and commercial works, bunch of projects right now. And I think we can post some our big projects in next 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, nice.
At the moment we are in a weird spot because this year was super crazy for us. We had 3 times as much projects as usual. So we really had to find out when can we do some personal work to grow and learn something new. And at the moment we are trying to produce more personal stuff and not only concentrate on commercial stuff because, when you do that all day, 7 days a week, it's just not fun anymore.
Yeah. So it's pretty important for both of you then, to set aside certain days of the week so you can do more just art or whatever you want to call it, your own personal design studies and things.
Yeah. It was not possible the whole year. Right now it's a bit better because we decided, okay, we have to take a break a bit from commercial stuff. We are finishing the stuff we are already working on. But after that, we really need some rest and work on our personal stuff. We both had some discussions about what, can we do it to avoid being in this endless circle of commercial stuff. And we both decided together, we really need some time for us and to create work together and alone and,
And this is tricky part, to make this balance between work-life balance. This is very important. If you work hard, you also need days you do nothing. Days free just for you, for family or stuff like this.
Yeah.
And,
I feel like I've talked to a lot of other people and myself. I sometimes feel like I struggle with even the days that I say this is free or doing nothing, I end up working on stuff and then I kind of feel like I beat myself up because you want to give yourself a break and then when you finally have it, you end up still just working and stuff anyway.
Yeah, I feel like we have to learn that, it's still not easy for us and it will take some time to learn separating commercial work and free time. Because we've been working for 5 or 6 years nonstop on commercial work and personal work and whatever. And it's just hard to separate it and find time for yourself and not getting burned out,
But if you have if you don't have money, you can go take free time. You also need I think it's the beginning for everyone is a little bit hard, and everyone have to work hard, you know. But if you are in like we are like 4 or 5 years right now, after these hard years, we have like this opportunity to make also like 3 days to just for us, you know. This is okay, you know.
Right.
In the beginning, you can you must you have to work
it's
hard.
not possible.
Yeah.
When you
Right
first
now-
started the agency, was it like, were you guys pretty busy like right away? Like, did you have already a lot of clients like right from the beginning?
Yeah, it's a bit funny story, to be honest. I moved to Offenbach, where he studied, and HFG, where maybe you know Eike König, the founder of Hort Berlin. He's a professor there, and I wanted to study there and moved to Offenbach, and we started working together. And like after a couple of months, just doing this for fun, Underarmor reached out to us, the sportswear brand, and we did the campaign together. So we are. It was not really like planned to do a studio,
Right.
but it automatically like happened because we had the opportunity to work on this campaign. And so after that, more and more clients reached out to us, and we like immediately started to work together on commercial stuff.
Yeah, it's a beginning. This was our goal, of course, to have like clients like this. But I think we were Marcel moved in Offenbach, and we was like 3 or 4 months together working some free stuff, and Underarmor came. You know, this was like for us. Oh, wow, nice.
Maybe yeah. It's like that, where I just moved there because I hated my job, and I was like not doing, like most of young people when they are in their 20s, they don't know what to do with their lives. Same with me. I worked in a retail store for climbing stuff, climbing shoes and climbing equipment.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the baddest job I had, but it was also not what I wanted to do in my life for the rest of my life. So I just moved there to study art and design. And luckily we had the opportunity to how do you say it? Work on stuff like that very early. So it was a sign for us. Okay, we made the right decisions, because Jappari also like went to Offenbach from Georgia. Maybe you can tell him about that.
I have a little bit like long way to here. Like I'm actually from Georgia. I live almost 10 years in Germany right now.
Oh, okay.
And I had 1,000 jobs, you know, like I was professional athlete in Taekwondo in Georgia.
Nice.
I was like, I'm actually also like European champion in 2017, I think. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I moved in Germany and to try something new, you know, to try something, to learn other people's, and art was for me always a part of me, you know. That's why I started here a little bit. First of all, a little bit German language study, stuff like this. And everything works.
Yeah, that's
So
cool. And now you not only are you one of the best designers, but if anyone says that they're better than you, you can also fight them since you're black belt.
Yeah, I can tell you, it's no matter how far you are, you always can do it.
Yeah, that's cool. Why did you end up moving here in the first place? Was it with your family?
No, alone. I was like 22 years old, and I moved alone, and that's what also pretty hard for me, you know, to learn. Everything was new for me. Georgia is other dimensional, you know. It's like completely other country, and this was also good for to see how things works, to be alone and learn. Like, okay, I have to work to get there or there, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you two meet like in classes at the university or just like outside of school?
No, outside of school. Actually, over Instagram. I saw that he studied at the university I wanted to go, and I don't know. I don't really remember if I asked him or he asked me, "Hey, should
You
we
asked
do
me.
some free?"
I remember.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I asked him, "Hey, let's do some free work. I do typography, and I saw you doing 3D." And then we just did one small collaboration, and we was like, okay, that's very nice. Let's do another collaboration. And from then we started to work like every day together on free stuff, like just for our portfolio and for fun.
Yeah.
And then I decided to go to the university, and yeah, like since the first day we started collaborating, we just didn't really like stop working together.
Yeah, all the way till now.
Yeah, that's
and this is also like funny story, you know. At the beginning we did like free collaborations, like for example, fake Nike project. I render shoe with Nike, and Obby did some typography stuff, layouts, and we posted on Instagram. And this was like, okay, Nike, and we write this text. Okay, we did this work, but this is like Nike work, but in the at the end was like non-commercial, you know. And everyone was like, okay, this Nike project, what the fuck? Okay, I scrolling down, and non-commercial. We always did, like with Balenciaga, for example, at the beginning, like 4 years ago or something, and Nike. And this was also cool. That's the first time Nike reached out us, show us this work, and tell us, okay, something like this, we need something like this, you know. And this is also like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Basically we did like, we thought about, okay, what kind of clients do we want to work with, and we wanted to work with Nike, so we did like a fake Nike advertisement or a design, and they like actually reached out to us and said, hey, we saw this dope, and we want something like that. But I also feel like back then it was easier to do stuff like that, because nowadays there are like millions of designers on Instagram, and I feel like back then it wasn't like that, you know. There was a couple big designers, but it wasn't
a little bit quiet, right?
Yeah, it was quiet. It was a bit easier to get the ball rolling, I would say, you know.
Right. I feel like clients, especially with the kind of stuff that you two work in, like it was a lot more original, I feel like, and unique when you guys were first starting out. Than a lot more people are into like 3D now and like more experimental stuff. Before it was probably like you were more one of a kind in that way, you know.
I feel like when we started working together, there wasn't really a lot of studios who offering 2D and typography, you know. There was 3D studios or typography studios, but not a lot of them like combining everything. And nowadays that's pretty normal too. Every studio has a typography designer and 3D designers and all that. But back then, like there was a couple studios we knew, but it was super easy to get clients, to be honest, back then.
Yeah. That's cool that you went from doing this stuff like just non-commercial or for fun on Instagram, and then now, you know, the same companies are actually contacting you and working with them.
The most important thing is, I want to mention this, is that we didn't start like working together to found an agency or a studio or something like that. We just did that because we hated our jobs and we wanted to do something fun. Because when I moved to Offenbach, I like therapy. How old I was, like 24, and for 24 years I did stuff I really didn't like. So I just wanted to do something I love, and that was design and art, and same for Jappari. And we did that every day, and then we had the opportunity to work on projects like that, but that was not the goal. The goal was just to have fun, you know.
When you guys do a new project, because I see a lot of the project you guys post, and I was always unsure like who does what aspects. So if you see like Obby and Jappari project, is a lot of the 3D done by Jappari and the type is done by you, Obby?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say that's the way it worked.
We started like this, we started like this. I did like whole 3D stuff, and Obby did like whole typography stuff and layouts and stuff like this. But right now we have like many freelancers in our studio. Like we work with a bunch of artists, like maybe you know this guys like Carly Fetz, for example, Crystal Beach. This is also very nice 3D artist. And in typography, also we also have like Studio Toussaint. I think you also know this. And this is like whole team, right now it's a little bit everything's like together, and we have also very nice news. Obby also started to learn 3D right now, and I think you can see some artworks Obby did. Yeah, this is pretty amazing to see. Okay, never stop learning,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now you got to get more on the typography, and then you guys will both be able to do everything.
Yeah, it's crazy because we also like last year we started working with freelancers and built a team, but this year was, like as I already said in the beginning of the interview, a lot of more projects and bigger projects, so we had to hire also like a project manager. And right now when we start a project, it isn't like the same thing anymore as back then. It's not like he does the 3D stuff and I'm doing the typography, because there are like 10 new tasks to do: negotiating, doing the financial stuff, organizing stuff, doing the talks with clients, briefing the freelancers, more and more
coordinations. When you have, for example, when you have 5-6 projects, and you are like person who makes like whole coordination stuff, this is also much work,
So you guys are both more in like a director role kind of nowadays?
Yeah.
So sometimes feels like
sometimes we have to, sometimes it's like a little bit tricky and we have to,
Yeah.
It's a lot of organization stuff, right? Like nowadays. But it's also a bit annoying sometimes, because you want to create something and all of a sudden you're in a position where you don't design anymore, because all you do is like all day you have to discuss with clients and talk to your team and do all that 50 emails, 20 calls, and you're like, man, when was the last time I opened Illustrator? I can't remember that, So that was also a reason why we said we want to reduce the client work a bit and do more art and design, because the whole year we didn't really design anything. We were just feeling like businessmen or like project managers or whatever. And that's not what we like, why we started this. It's fun to see the studio growing. And I really like to also give other people the opportunity to work on projects like that. They earn more money than before. We can help them to change their lives a bit. That's super great. And I'm grateful and thankful for that. But I also want to design for myself and the same for Jappari,
Sure.
Right. What do you think together, like obviously you have the whole studio now and you have other employees and freelancers, but you two together from the beginning to now, what do you think are the biggest strengths that each of you have that kind of complement each other in running the studio?
I think we are absolutely like relentless. There's no thing as like giving up. He was a professional athlete, so it's in his like mindset, in his blood. When you want something, you have to work for it and go for it. Same for me.
Never give up. I think this is
That's what
it makes sense. Yeah.
And this is like, of course, some like younger people think, okay, this is pretty hard to get there. This is like they see us where we are right now, but I think this is pretty cool to think to be better tomorrow. To be better, like one step. Like one step and second step. It's like this whole process, this is like your goal must be process, this whole progression, work in progress. This is very important. And this is, everything's fine, this is like fun. Just have some fun, this, everything's nice.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
Yeah, I'm finished.
Where we came from and what kind of jobs we did, and we just wanted to change something, and maybe that's what's one of the reasons why it worked for us, because it was already like almost like we had no other choice, because I didn't want to go back and sell climbing shoes and wash dishes or something like that. And same for him. When I came to Offenbach, he also had like jobs where he was washing dishes in the restaurant.
I was locked in the kindergarten 2 years. I was like in kindergarten 2 years. After that, helped some older people in the old people house. I don't know how it's named. Yeah, and in restaurant, like wash dishes and stuff like this. But that's why is life good, You have, if you have like just sweet taste, this is boring. You also have to sell some sharp, sharp side. And this is like, that's why is life very good to test what happens when you are there or there.
You can also
no one
appreciate
sees
it
like
more.
no one sees the, like, they all see the end, no one sees from the outside looking in all the stuff that you had to do. No one knows that you were selling climbing shoes. No one knows you were, out there fighting in tournaments or working in the old people home and all that. And I think it's good to show that, like, you guys are like a pretty good example of when you just do something for the love of it. Like, you weren't even thinking about commercial work or anything and just put all your all into it. It can become this thing that is like bigger than you could ever imagine,
Yeah.
When we started working together on commercial stuff, we didn't have really a lot of backup from our parents when it comes to financial stuff. So I worked in a call center when I studied, and like a half-time job. And when we worked with Underarmor and Nike and everything, I still worked there because I was too afraid to quit my job there, because I thought maybe it's just a small hype and then we have no clients anymore. And what I'm doing then, I have no job and nothing. So I worked in a call center while actually working on Nike campaigns. And they maybe thought I am some guy with a master degree or whatever.
Yeah.
But in reality, I was 2 hours before I was in a fucking call center,
Yeah, that's crazy. Did they, how did those companies first reach out to you after seeing the work? Did they just email you two individually or reach out on social media or something?
I think we had, in the beginning, we had our mail address on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
And everything happens in Instagram. I always say this, we burn in Instagram. We was like, in Instagram, we put our work there and people see what we do. And this is pretty nice tool. Also right now, of course, right now it's like 100 times more people do work like us. But I think this is pretty nice tool to get like contacts, this is pretty cool. And also
they just messaged us or emailed us. We had an email address together, and then they said, hey, we want to work with you. And we both just did the meeting together with them,
Yeah, I was wondering too, I noticed you have the work on Instagram and obviously you have the account that you're on, the Obby and Jappari, but then Jappari is the solo one. Is there not? So there's not 3, right? You just have the both and then the one like that.
Obby have also like personal Instagram.
Oh, okay.
But right now we use like Obby's Instagram as our official page, and this is we have together like the studio, but we both work also for our personal projects, like an artist or something like this,
Yeah.
And I think this works pretty well, It's like we have bigger page and also like,
I mean, at some point we just said, okay, we have 2 options. One option is to find create a new Instagram page where we just do studio stuff, and the other option is like one of us has to turn his account into the studio account. And I was like, okay, I don't really care about that. I can do that, and I just turned my account into the Obby and Jappari account, and I also post my personal stuff there. But we just use it.
Is
as
there a reason
account.
you don't have because I noticed when you go on your site, you have it's mostly like to buy the products, right? Like the shirts and things. And is there a reason that you do it? Like, is all your work just on the Instagram, or is there like a studio portfolio online somewhere as well?
There's no studio website.
Studio website. We don't have studio website, but we have some works on Pinterest, I think. And this Pinterest is right now. This Pinterest is annoying me. This is like this green face.
Yeah.
Every day, get this artwork stolen. Every day I become some messages from other people. I see this your artwork here. Your artwork, guys, stolen there. It's like pretty crazy right now, This is internet, you can take it.
Yeah, I see that all the time, and I think that green, like that green kind of heat map, like motion blur, like face, it's always on shirts and everything, and I always see people tagging you and saying, someone stole it again and all that. I think a lot of people with the internet, how everything is so open, like they're in the wrong for sure for stealing it, but I think that they don't know that it's wrong. Do you know? Like they think that that's fine because it's online or something,
Everyone is so frustrated. They want to change something in their life, and they be like, okay, I'm founding a fashion brand, and then they grab something they see online, and they are just uneducated when it comes to stuff like that,
I'm pretty happy to give like inspiration other people. This is like this amazing feeling to see how people get inspired. When we do some stuff and other people make some stuff like this. Like take some inspiration, but to take our work, this is like other thing,
for sure.
But,
do you think
this happens?
How does it feel? Because I think I don't know if you have noticed this yourselves, but going back to what we were talking about when you were starting on Instagram, the kind of work you were doing, I feel like the work that both of you are doing was very like ahead of its time. Like it seems like you went into the future to like right now and went back like 4 years and started doing the work that would be popular now. And how does it feel to see that, like, it almost seems like you guys have set a lot of trends in a way with like some of the stuff you two do?
It's a bit hard, to be honest, because when you look back then it was a bit easier to try out new stuff and people get inspired by it. And nowadays there's so much stuff. It's hard to try out new stuff and anyone hasn't already done before, but it's hard.
I think this is like right now many people, this is like music, like hip hop, for example. this is like growing. Right now, I think this is like hip hop, back then. It's like design community is growing right now, and when many people makes work, it's also, you can also see like much cool work, there's like some cool stuff is growing, this is pretty nice to see. And who knows, maybe we come soon with new stuff or new trend.
I feel like I have to like a bit disagree because I feel like back then in 2017 and 18, when I was on Instagram, I saw a lot of stuff where I was like, oh man, this is great. I want to do something like that, and was so hyped and inspired. And nowadays I feel like it's a bit less like that. I find it harder to see something that excites me, but maybe that's just because I've done it for such a long time,
I think it's a little bit of both. I think that Jappari's right in the sense that there's more people, so there's more opportunity to see cooler stuff, but you're right in the sense that there's so many people that if you might see 10 bad things to see one thing that you like, because it's like very crowded and there's a lot going on. Do you think, do you feel like when you start to see something that you two do, whether it be a style of type or a way that you're doing rendering or sculpting, when you start to see too many people do it, do you feel like you want to kind of switch it up and go into a different direction?
I mean, that's a personal thing, but
I think at the beginning is a little bit knowing when you see, okay, I did this. We did like, for example, this typography 3D mix stuff. And when we see this many people do it like this, like at the beginning, we was like, okay, why they copy us? You copy our style and stuff like this. But after then, right now we think this is normal progress. This is like normal. This is good for us also to take this as to make some other stuff. This like take to see, okay, people doing this, but okay, maybe I come with other new stuff also, to grow also new dimensions and stuff like this. And for this dimensionless is good. I think this is no problem.
I think also there are a lot of trends, like every year there's a specific trend or something like that, with paper textures and all that. And I feel like sometimes when there's a big trend, like doing these gradient humans with paper textures and typography on it, back then we also did that, and it was fine, but nowadays there are like thousands of people doing that, and then you want to switch it a bit up because you don't want to I don't know how to say it. You don't want to do the same thing, it's not interesting anymore. There's not it doesn't excite us anymore. So we have to find new ways to make new stuff, and that's also important. I think as a designer, artist, whatever, you always have to try out new things. If you don't do that, you won't learn anything new. And learning new stuff is important, and switching up things.
And I feel like with the gradient human stuff, especially, like even if you were doing it early on, if you continue to do something that is like trendy and everyone's doing it, it doesn't really matter if you're doing it before or not, because you'll just get grouped in with the same, like the same whole thing, going on. And I think, I don't know. I'm curious to see what's next, because obviously like a year or two ago, probably 2 years, everything was like, everyone put plastic on everything, and like scratches and stuff. And then you got the chrome type, and then you have kind of like the gradient human. So I'm curious to see what 2020 holds for us.
I mean, it's also a big part of that is like plugins and how do you say it? Assets For example, Black Market or Album Archive, they are selling these assets. And now back then, you know how hard it was to create something like that. You had to create the layout, you had to print it, you had to manipulate it, then you had to scan it back in. It was a lot of effort to do that. And nowadays they just have to click one button and everything is done.
That's sure.
Yeah, that's super easy for everybody to even if you are not a very educated designer or whatever, if you just started with these plugins and assets, you can already create something cool for,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
So it's our job to find new ways to create stuff that is a bit more complicated and is a bit more like next level. For example, I put these, sometimes I put like small tutorial not YouTube videos, Instagram Reels up, how to do that where I want to show other people, hey, okay, you don't have to use the asset. You can also create this in real life, you can print something and manipulate it, and then it looks a bit different. But I'm not saying anything against assets or plugins. That's also great. Everyone has just to find their own way to work.
Sure. Yeah. The one that you put up, I was messing with that. I don't know where I put it, but earlier I got some of that paper and I was messing with the transparency stuff. And like what I realized is like, with assets and stuff that recreate analog effects, like no matter how good it's done and replicated, all the stuff that I've done that's like mixed media between digital and analog, it always turns out better. Like you can't really recreate it because digital assets don't account for the like randomness and like irregularity that can happen where everything's different each time,
Yeah, it always, when you work analog, maybe you can, for example, Jappari, he does a lot of analog stuff and mixing together different stuff, glue, whatever. He puts something into his artworks,
for example,
honey, glue, whatever, and that makes artwork special. And I think it's almost like you can see someone put a bit love into the artwork, and that's not possible by just pressing a button.
This assets is pretty cool if you are beginning and if you don't know how it works and you test some stuff. This is cool. I also don't have something against these plugins and stuff like this, but when 1,000, 2,000 people use these plugins, everything looks same, If I see some artworks in internet, I know what kind of paper texture they use. This is like Google paper texture. I know. I also, for 5 years ago, I used it, But if you go if you buy like old printer, for example, like Flohmarkt, Flohmarkt?
Flea market,
Flea market, maybe. You go at flea market and you buy like very old printer.
Yeah.
This have completely other other look, other aesthetic if you print it. And if you text if you do some tests or maybe you use, I also love to use this organic stuff, honey, for example, or some candles and stuff like this, and you don't have something like this in assets, That's why I prepared to give more freedom in your creation.
You're giving them ideas though. They're going to be a honey pack coming out soon next month.
Also,
honey pack, it's great.
I also own like a lot of presets and plugins and. For example, from Jack from Album Archive, he's doing a great job.
Yeah.
Black Market, they also doing a great job. I own almost like 5 or 6 assets from them.
Yeah, sure. I use sometimes I use for long sleeves Black Market plugin. It's very amazing, and
we don't want to say anything against it.
Right.
We also use that. Sometimes you just have to switch things up. I love the copy scan textures from Black Market, for example. I use them. Sometimes you don't have a lot of time or whatever. You just want to give your artwork a printed look. What we wanted to say is just sometimes try something new, get out of the comfort zone, and you will be like, how do you say it in English? When you look at it, at the artwork, at the end, you will be like, not excited, but
satisfied.
You will see satisfied. You will see the difference between like pressing a button and creating anything in real life.
Yeah, for sure.
And these times today, many people, right now we want everything to have right now, and this is, I think this is important to take time for your work. Yeah. This is not like you don't have to post every day. For me, for example, I don't have post every day,
Right.
For me, it's better take 3 or 4 days for one artwork, have fun, and after that, then can I post it, For me, it works to have like a little bit slow down and put more time in my work. This is like how I work, but this is also okay when people post every day and stuff like this. This is like other mentality, but I have like a little bit slow down mentality.
Yeah, for sure. And like this is I was trying this from the video I watched of your like the transparency.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's crazy because I think it's good that you made something like that, because I always see like I want people to spread knowledge, and like I didn't even do what you did. Like I didn't do the fingerprint. I did other stuff. I texturized it with like sandpaper and things, but I had never even thought of the idea to print on the like frosted whatever, like semi-transparent paper, because I only had ever used that for like tracing shit, I'd never used it in that way. And just showing stuff like that is like, I think helpful, because even if someone copies, let's say, this idea that you had and you want them to, it'll look different because no one's going to be able to do it the same exact way. They're all going to do it their own way. And then it will be less of the same. You won't be able to look at it and just say, oh, they got that. They use that, or they use that.
Yeah. Some people also texted me and was like, hey, you shouldn't give the advice out. Now everyone is using it and blah, blah, blah. I get it. But Jappari and me, we also say you have to share the knowledge, You have to educate people. And when you do that, we feel that's important. And we feel like when you do stuff like that, something good comes back,
Exactly. And you don't get anything out of gatekeeping ideas or knowledge. Like, no. What are you, if you shouldn't be like, and if someone copies you, it doesn't matter, because you're already, that the way you're doing it is good, and people are going to come to you for your work. It doesn't matter if someone uses the same ideas or anything.
What I also want to say is, just because they know how to do it, it doesn't mean they're doing it, because people nowadays are lazy, They want to click a button and everything is done. They don't want to print it out and manipulate it and scan it back in and tweak around in Photoshop and post-production.
Yeah, that's why I think this reel, what Marcel did, Obby did this video with this fingerprints and stuff like this, very important to send this message to people. Okay. Just not, you can also try something different, take a little bit time, try something new, this is like also important for us to send some message for younger people or older people listeners, like not matter, but this is like, okay, you can do everything in your house when you have like paper and teaching.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing for the I did the financial advices reel where I explained how to make more money. I don't know, that's maybe the most successful reel. Wait 1 second. Yeah, the most successful reel, and I think that's also important to share this knowledge, because that's also more important, because when I have the ability and the possibility to show people how to make more money, it really could change their life a bit,
Sure.
And if they make more money, is there anything
you don't make less,
like,
you know,
I don't make less money if they make more money, you know.
Right.
It's not like it's something negative for me if I show them some tricks, because that it's just a win-win situation for everyone, you know.
Yeah.
Giving is very important, you know. For me, for example, giving is like happiness, you know. If you give and see, okay, this other person is like happy what you did, or take inspiration. This is, for me, this is a very important part.
Exactly. Yeah. And coming from, you guys have run this successful studio for a while now, and you obviously have worked with big clients. So when you're giving advice on, you know, getting clients or handling business, like, it's there's weight to it rather than just anyone saying it. Like, you've obviously tested these strategies and they've worked because you guys have done a lot of cool shit.
I can guarantee that, you know. Maybe a lot of people giving advices on Instagram, but sometimes you have to check if they are they like able to give the advices, like what did they done to like give all the advices. And if I make a video about financial advices, I make sure I did that for 2 years or 2 years, and we generated like a lot more money with this, and it works for everyone. And if you do that for every client, I can guarantee it will work, and you have to worry a bit less, you know. I will also continue, or we will also continue making videos like that to educate people and help them.
Yeah, this is important part, you know. So this budget stuff and stuff like this, at the beginning, we was like lost, you know. We don't knew how it works, how many days we can work and take this budget, you know, how many this, like, everything was for us. We knew nothing, right? At the beginning, we had like these big projects, and we was like, wow, this is much money, you know, it's crazy. But right now we think this was like,
they scammed us, you know. Also, sorry,
no worries.
What did I already forgot what I wanted to say.
All right. If you remember, just feel free to call it out. I wanted to ask you too, Jappari, some of the stuff you've been posting recently, like the renders with the figures, with like all the crazy sharp like chrome coming off of it and things. I'm just wondering, like, what goes on in your head, like, to come up with these ideas, because some of this stuff is so crazy and it's like so good. I've never seen anything like it. And I'm curious, like, where you kind of like, what's your process like, and where you get inspiration from and things.
Thank you. This is pretty nice to hear something like this. You know, this is I do much research, you know, like 1 or 2 hours I just hear music, drink tea, and make like research, Pinterest or whatever, you know, like just some research or movie, you know, pictures and stuff like this. And I have my own disc to I have this aesthetic is for me very important, you know. I know how I have like not too much knowledge, for example, in 3D, you know. I know people, they do much more stuff in 3D, you know, like crazy stuff. But some people don't have this aesthetic feeling, you know, this eye to see this must be looks like this, you know. You need something, you know, this like, this is also for me very important to learn how can I create aesthetic like this, what I have in my mind, you know. And I don't know how it happens, but when I work, I make like much, I take time, you know. For example, I work 4 or 5 hours today for this artwork. I make like reset, and after tomorrow I continue work on it, you know. And I have like this world in my mind, or this aesthetic, this look, you know, in my mind. How can this is like feeling, I can describe it. This is like feeling. I know when something looks pretty amazing, you know. And this is like just feeling, you know. I think these feelings you can train when you make more research and see some more stuff and other artists and stuff like this. And I see today's thousands of artists make artworks, and sometimes I like just one something very small on this artwork, like 90% is like trash, but this 10% is like very nice. And I put this stuff together to make like new solution. And this, I think this is like training also for your mind to learn how can you see this aesthetic, what you want, and this is like, I don't know.
Yeah, I like the explanation about the research. I'm sure like it's good that you put that much thought into it beforehand and everything. And what you were saying about how there's other 3D artists that can do a lot more than you, but they don't do like the one specific style. It's like, it reminded me of that. It's like a quote by Bruce Lee. It's, "I fear not the man who's practiced 10,000 kicks once, but the man who's practiced one kick 10,000 times." So
this is also my mentality. I train like 22 years. I train in Taekwondo. This I made this stuff like this. 100 times just one kick. And training is everything. You can do anything you want. If you have like discipline and you train.
I also feel like some people think you have to be super technical and you have to do the wildest things. And if you do that, an artwork is great. But if you look at the greatest like art and creative directors and studios and all that, it's not about like doing like all this crazy stuff and hundreds of things and icons and shapes going on. You have to be able to make something simple and make it look good,
Yeah.
And that comes from research and taking time and learning to like have an eye for ideas and what's good,
Yeah.
I feel like it's sometimes like over filled with stuff.
I think especially with the Instagram era of like design and like especially the surge in like acid graphics and like very complex layouts with a lot of, like Safe Haven, like him, like he kind of started a lot of that trend as well. Like I think everyone now wants to put everything, and I think I agree that sometimes it's just masking that maybe the idea isn't that good, so they need to add more stuff in.
Yeah, Safe Haven is a good example. His stuff is amazing. I mean, he's very technical, and I don't even know how to create stuff like that, to be honest. But you can't just duplicate that because you're not as trained as him. And when you try to duplicate it, it looks just overloaded with unnecessary things, And when he does it, it doesn't really look like super overloaded or anything like that. It looks super perfect like that.
Yeah, I remember, I forgot who said it. I was like a designer, but they said something like, I know a work's finished not when there isn't anything left to add, but when there's nothing left to take away, or something like that. So like getting everything down to like, what is it necessary? Like, does this need to be here? If it doesn't, then why is it in the composition?
Yeah.
It's also great trick is if you do like artwork, for example, and you did something and you think, "Oh, this is finished," it's great. And take a little bit time and see tomorrow and try to do like other version, like do 3 versions or 4 versions, 5 versions, And I do something like stuff like this. I do like 5 or 6 versions, and sometimes it's pretty hard to choose. Okay, which one is cool right now, But this is also nice to train how you reproduce, like how you can like how I say learn to get in this point, to see to see, okay, this artwork is finished. You learn how to get in this point in finish, like in finished project, It's like
I feel training. That way with clients sometimes too. Like I think I'm done and I get a revision and I'm upset about it, and then we come back and it's even better than whatever I did originally. So I'm like, sometimes it's not that way. It goes the other way. But sometimes, you know, you need someone to push you and be like, are you sure it's done? You know, give it another try.
Yeah. On the other hand, I want to say it's sometimes it's also good to not overthink it. You know, when you have something great and you be like, okay, I did that in 1 hour. Is it really finished? And then you start doing this and that. And then in the end, you realize at the beginning it was done. You know, I did all the stuff and it was unnecessary, you know. Yeah,
there's two ways of sometimes I agree with that too. Sometimes like the first thing you feel like it shouldn't be, it's not allowed to be done because you did it so easily or fast or like came up with it. But I think it's good to find some kind of area in between those two ways of thinking. That way you don't over tinker something to death, but then also you don't get complacent and just first try all the time, you know.
Yeah, this is not just one rule, you know. You can you must be a little bit flexible, you know.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you guys like a few more things. I know you gotta get out of here soon, coming up on an hour, but I wanted to know, so I hear you two get talked about as a lot of people's, you know, favorite designers and people that they're inspired by with typography, 3D, and just a lot of the stuff you created with different big brands and such. And I was wondering, who are some of your favorite designers or favorite inspirations from different areas of art and things?
Hard question.
This is too many people, you know. Some friends and many friends do cool stuff right now. But I think I can tell you how I was for 5 years, and I think you know Sucuk and Bratwurst. And this was like my first inspiration. I saw this artworks like 3D and amazing stuff, and I was like, okay, cool, I will do something like this also, you know. And this was like my first big inspiration. But KF Canims, for example, is amazing artist, you know. This is also pretty cool. Many artists, you know. This is like big. I think that this is like big inspirations for me at the beginning.
Right.
I mean, it's for us. I think I can speak for both of us. It's not only about the work. It's a lot about like the idea and the person. For example, Eike König, our professor and like the founder of Hort Berlin, he helped us a lot back then, and he also made a lot of talks and all that and taught a lot of things. And he had these like couple of rules of how to run a studio. And I don't remember exactly the rules, but it was like, don't work with assholes, try to improve and learn something new every time you accept the client. And he had all these rules and this guideline on how to be a creative, and that inspired me a lot. And I was like, okay, I wanted to be some person like that, to also educate people and have a couple of rules, also break the rules and not also always do some boring stuff. And when it comes
to, it was your first first inspiration, right? And the reason why you come in Offenbach to study in HFB.
Some people like Eike König, for example, he's like a huge inspiration still for me when I watch his interviews or talk to him personally. Also our friends, for example, also my girlfriend who runs Studio Toussaint, they're a huge inspiration. Jappari, just our friends and people we are looking up to. Many different
Crystal Beach, for example, is amazing 3D artist, you know. Carly Fed, this is amazing artist, and many people, you know, this like Xavi, you know, this like Boltron. Boltron. You know,
3D designer.
This like 3D artist. This is a pretty amazing guy, and I like his personality, and this is also inspiration for me. You know,
it's a lot about the personality. Like, but back in the day when we started, there were like people like Gucci Mace.
Right.
He is amazing, you know.
Yeah, it's crazy.
100 BR, Travis Brothers, they work for Post Malone a lot.
Yeah, this is classic, you know. This is like big
100 BR is dope.
Yeah. I mean, they're like I feel like they started together in the same year as us, getting bigger, you know. And those are a couple names. For example, David Rudnick. I don't even know how the fuck he came up with that, you know. There was no one before him doing all this crazy stuff. People like them are a huge inspiration for us.
Just like timeless, you know. This is, for example, these guys are like timeless. For example, David Rudnick. This is like, you see when David do something. Yeah. Of course, thousands people make like copies of it, but David's is almost always different, you know. And this is like something like this is cool.
I've looked at some of Rudnick's like archival stuff, and like the shit that he was doing in like 2000 looks like 2020 Instagram. Shit, you know, it's crazy.
Or maybe people like Eric Hu. He was like the former
Nike
global art director. I feel like if I type something in Times New Roman on my screen and it's the same word, he will be able to make it look different, you know. He has such a crazy way of work with simple fonts and typefaces and still make it look very unique. I don't know how to he's cool.
Is one of your studio rules that you got to wear the Yankees hat all the time?
No, I don't know about this.
I don't know why we have this one. I was outside. I go like after I finish. Today I was not working, but after I finish work, I go outside to walk just 1 hour or something like this. Just walk to get this fresh.
I've been trying to do that too lately.
Yeah, this is very important, you know, to have this routine.
Sure. Yeah, but if there's anything else you wanted to add, other than that, I really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your busy schedule to chat with me.
If you would have a couple of other questions left, we don't have to leave like right now. You can just ask a couple.
Oh yeah, I was just trying to make sure you weren't feeling like super busy. I know you said you're like, we got to get out of here in an hour or whatnot, so I wanted to make sure.
No, everything's fine. You know, we are also pretty happy to make something like this. We are here in home, and I think this is pretty cool. Also,
thank you. Yeah. I wanted to, I guess, a few more things. I was wondering. So you've worked with a lot of these big clients, and I've seen some of the stuff you've been doing. Who has been, out of like some of these big names like Underarmor and Nike and other things, who's been like your best experience working with as a brand?
I think if you think about that, and many people want to work with these big brands, but sometimes and a lot of times it's not that great, you know. So they are mostly like a bit annoying. And I think the best clients are like smaller brands where you almost are friends with them. You know, your clients who keep coming back to us, and when we work with them and also talk to them about private stuff and all that, you know, that's the best case, you know.
Yeah, best projects are if you have like a freedom to make your art, you know.
Yeah.
If you have, for example, big names, big companies in your project, you don't have much freedom to do your stuff, you know, and you are always like, you feel sometimes you are just tool to make this how they think.
Like an order taker.
And this is like when you work with small clients or just with friends, you know, it's like, of course, this is not much budget and stuff like this, but more fun and more freedom. This is like, for me also, for us, great projects with friends and smaller companies.
So have neither of you then, I know you said you've all had these different jobs and stuff before you started working together, but have either of you worked as as a designer or a 3D artist or anything as an employee or no?
Jappari, you did.
I was in one. I was, I think, 6 or 7 months in like
I thought you were gonna say 6 or 7 years old. I was like, damn, you were already doing it then.
No. I was like 4 or 5 or 4 years ago. I was like a student, and I take their like practice.
Oh, okay.
6 months in this food packaging studio, and I want this is not I don't like stuff like this, to be like in one box and you have to work, you go in the studio and you can you don't have freedom, you go in studio morning and you have to sit there and work. You don't have any freedom, and I don't like work like this. When I wake up, I go outside and I have my own routine to start work. And
we also,
in creative, if you are creative, you need these routines to put in your head.
We also give our freelancers on our team a very much freedom. They can do whatever they want. Everyone needs their own routine and way of working, and we don't want to force anyone. For example, Kali Fetz, he works at night. When we wake up in the morning, he starts to sleep, and then he sleeps until it's like 12 or whatever, and that's okay for us because we don't want to force anyone to do anything they don't like. We had a lot of shitty jobs, and we want to make a better. We want to make it better. We want to feel anyone who works for us and with us that they aren't forced to anything they don't like.
If you are like in stress, if you have like stress, your brain closed, you don't have like opportunity to think creative, and you have to make like your routine for relaxing into this is important in our in this point.
I saw this quote a lot of times recently where some people reposted it on their Insta story or whatever, and it says creative people need time to sit around and do nothing. And that's pretty important for me, I don't want to work all day. Sometimes I'm just sitting here and be like daydreaming or playing games or whatever, And that's cool about the freelancing stuff or owning a studio. Sometimes you have to make sure you have time for yourself,
Right. I talked about this with the last guest that I was talking to the other day. Like you can't, it's also hard to schedule, like, when you're like doing conceptual work, like you can't really force yourself to be inspired at a certain time, a certain hour of the day. Like sometimes, I'll be having no ideas throughout the whole like 9 to 5 work day. And then at like 2 a.m, I just have to turn on my computer because I thought of something, and that you have to have the freedom to be able to do that. Otherwise you just get nothing done on the times that people set for you.
Yeah. And we also should like appreciate that, we should be happy about that we are able to do that. Sometimes, like, maybe it sounds weird, but like almost every day I sit here and be like, okay, now I can play 1 hour games or go outside, do sports or do whatever I want. And normal people, when they work somewhere and they have to do a job they don't like, they can do that. And sometimes you just have to sit there and be like, okay, I have to appreciate the moment. I'm here right now and can do what I love, and I'm getting paid for that. That's a privilege most people in the world don't have. Like 90% of the people, they just have to work somewhere for 40 years and retire, and that's it, We should be really happy people, even if it's a lot of stress sometimes to be a freelancer. You have to deal with clients and all that, but it's still,
you have to see in positive side, Of course, sometimes it's pretty stressful to work, and also at the beginning to get in this point was hard. But you have to see, I think you have to see a positive part of it,
Yeah.
This is also your freedom. This is also your own decision to do this.
Right. Yeah. I feel grateful that even when I'm super stressed out, I'm grateful that the stress that I have is what it is, rather than the stress being I work some super hard job where when I get off, I can't even walk because I was breaking my back all day. We just get to push buttons and draw and do whatever. And the worst case scenario is the guy emails you some bullshit and that's it. You know, whatever.
That's it. Sometimes when people ask me, is it not hard to do that? 5 projects at once with freelancers and all that. And I'd be like, man, a couple of years ago, I was in a restaurant. The chef yelled at me, I'm an asshole, throw the pen after me. That was hard. Doing that 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. Yeah. This right now, I'm sitting here on my computer, pressing a couple buttons. That's not hard. Sometimes it's hard, but what we've done in our lives was way harder and way more exhausting than what we are doing right now.
Yeah.
But I don't want to say you don't have the right to complain. Anyone can complain about whatever they want.
Yeah.
I just want to say,
I feel like
sometimes you have to appreciate it.
Yeah. All we do is complain. I feel like everyone on Twitter, every designer, all we do is complain about something. But at least, I think it's nice that we are able to complain. We have the freedom to complain and just bitch about
I also
small
do
things.
that a lot on Twitter. Sometimes all I do all day is complain about clients, but I do that for fun, to make fun about all of this.
Sometimes we have to work 10 hours. We have many projects sometimes, and we have to work 10 hours, but this is okay,
Mm-hmm.
This is our 10 hours as in restaurant,
Right. Yeah. I think, I always, what you were saying about when someone asked you, is it hard to manage all the projects? And it's easy to get I sometimes I forget how good I have it, I've been trying to be more mindful and just be grateful that I live in a country that I'm allowed to even do stuff like this and that nothing is going on super bad. And we get to wake up and just go on the computer and everything. And I think to see people like you and other designers that I look up to that do such crazy stuff, I'm glad that we're all in this situation, and it's just I'm very grateful for all that,
Yeah, this is very important.
Other than that, one last thing I wanted to just tell you, Jappari, is it's not a question, but the bug shit that you used to make all the time, that's one of my favorite things I've ever seen. So I just want to tell you that, because those were insane, and I'd never seen anything like that before.
Which kind of bugs do you like? This with hairs and fluffy, or
and with the jacket and the Beatles or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah. I call it Jappari bags. I never see something like this. I was okay, maybe other people doing also something like this, but I never see something like this. And I plan to make series of these Jappari bags, 10 pieces or 7 pieces, and put this in NFT. I don't know, maybe in 2 or 3 weeks. Let's see.
Oh yeah, that would be cool. Looking forward to that.
Right now, I do right now, new Jappari bags. I'm into right now.
Oh yeah. But thank you again, both of you, for coming on. I appreciate it. And if you guys don't know Obby and Jappari, you can go Jappari on Instagram and then obby.jappari on their other stuff. You can go on Twitter, check them all out too. But that's all I have for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for inviting us.
Thank you. We want to maybe greet the team, Carla, John, Alex, Nadine, my girlfriend, Pia, who started with us together, Helen, our project manager. Yeah, we love you guys.
Yeah, this is like our team, without our team, we are nothing.
Yeah. All right, awesome. Shout out to the team as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.